Hi, everyone. Welcome. It's about 20 of you logged on right now, so that's great. And hopefully more people will be coming on soon. We're excited for this Lunch and Learn today. I'm Brittany. I'm the lead attorney of the Children's Law Clinic at Generation Justice. Gen Justice is an organization founded to work on mending the child protection system. We do that in a handful of different ways. There's 3 levels that we say that we have. We have the super macro, which is our constitutional rights and arguments and things of that nature. Then we have macro, which is our policy and legislation. And so we do a lot that way. And then our micro, which is things like these trainings, as well as direct impact on the day-to-day cases in the courtroom for children or families in the foster care system here. So we're excited to bring you today to other organizations to highlight which all 3 of our organizations focus on making the child welfare system better and benefiting the children because they are, of course, the focus and we want the best for them. So we are highlighting today the Arizona Helping Hands and Arizona Friends of Foster Children Foundation. So we have Christy from Arizona Helping Hands and we have Kim from the Arizona Friends of Foster Children Foundation. And I'll explain a little of how our format's going to be just from the beginning here, and then we'll just jump right in and get started. So first, Christy's going to do her presentation, and then following that, there'll be questions directed for her and Arizona Helping Hands. And then after that, Kim will do her presentation, and then same questions directed to her about Arizona Friends of Foster Children Foundation. And then after all that, if there's more questions, we will be taking those at the end for either or both of them. There are handouts that are on here that you can access. You don't need them for the presentations, but you can review them at your leisure, either now or download them and look at them later. There is a Q&A box, so that's where you're going to type all your questions. I will be monitoring that box, and then at the end of each separate presentation, I'll be reading the questions so that I can group them together in case there's some common ones that are coming through that are similar or the same. So I'll ask those. And then after the presentation is over today, it is being recorded right now. So when it's done, we'll publish it to the Big Marker website on our channel on there. So you can go back and watch it again later. Or you can direct all friends and colleagues to check it out so you can find out about both these organizations as well as Gen Justice. So without further ado, I'll just hand it over to Christy here and get your slides going. If you give me 1 second, you can start your introduction as I do that.
Perfect. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much to Brittany and the team at Gen Justice for including us. And it's nice to be here with other partners in the foster care community. So I'm the development manager at Arizona Helping Hands. I've been here for a little over a year, and I manage our development, marketing, and volunteers department. So our mission is to provide essential needs for children in foster care through our programs promoting safety, permanency, and health. We were established in 1998. At the time, our founder's sister had, before she passed away, our founder had asked her how we could honor her legacy. And she asked that we do one good deed a day without ever taking credit for it. So in 1998, when we started, we were assisting families and children across the state experiencing hardship. And in 2013 is when we shifted our focus to specifically assist children in foster care. We learned that a lot of children in foster care did not have a safe place to sleep. And that is what prompted us to create our Safe Sleep program. And that year we provided 44 beds and cribs. And fast forward to today, we have given out over 17,000 beds and cribs to children in foster care. So we bring hope to children in foster care, and all of those essential items. We're actually the largest provider of essential needs to children in foster care in the state of Arizona. We provide beds, cribs, back to school supplies, and so much more. So this is just a little picture of our warehouse. We have an 18,000 square foot warehouse where we store all of these essential needs that we provide to the community. So we have 5 signature programs, and one of the attachments actually details all of the different programs. It'll give you more information so you can review that after this. But we have our back to school program, and that prepares children for success in school with backpacks, school supplies, and uniforms. We actually are having our back to school bazaar the week of June 21st through June 25th. And you can register for that event if you go to our website, azhelpinghands.org. There's a pop-up that gives you the registration link. You just need your driver's license and a notice to provider, but it's an opportunity to go on, sign up for a registration spot, and you can bring the children with you, and we'll be giving out backpacks, school supplies, clothing, toys, books, hygiene items, masks, hand sanitizers. So it's a great opportunity to come and prep for the new school season. Our basic needs program is our signature and largest program. It's what started as the Safe Sleep program in 2013. And today we not only provide a twin bed or a crib, but we provide that full bedding package. It includes a blanket, a pillow, a mattress protector, a sheet set, the mattress, the platform. And then with the crib, you get a crib mattress and a fitted sheet. We also provide clothing, diapers, wipes, educational toys and games, and personal hygiene kits. The personal hygiene kits include shampoo, conditioner, body wash, toothpaste, toothbrush, floss, a hairbrush, all of those necessities. Our Birthday Dreams program started a couple of years ago, and we every year fulfill over 3,500 birthday wishes. And so when a child has a birthday coming up, you can go online and schedule an appointment and fill out some information about the child, and our volunteers prepare personalized birthday packages for each child. So they get 3 new toys and a book, a stuffed animal. And then our teens turning 13 through 21, they get a gift card, a duffel bag, a book, and some other items they might enjoy, technology items, cosmetic items, crafts, games, things like that. We also have our Foster Footlockers program. And that is, it's a trunk that has a lock and key, and it's just to safely secure a child's belongings, and that's for any age. And then we have our licensing safety items program, and that is when you are undergoing the process to become a foster parent. As you all might be aware, you have to ensure a safe home environment and go through that Arizona life safety inspection. So when you're working with your licensing agency and you have that list of safety items that are required, you can come to Arizona Helping Hands, and we are able to give you those items. So fire extinguishers, first aid kits, smoke detectors, carbon monoxide detectors, cabinet locks, and outlet plug covers. And so here are just some pictures of back to school. Again, this provides school supplies, backpacks, uniforms, clothing, shoes, and all of this will be available at our back to school bazaar, June 21st through June 25th. Basic needs, you can see our mattresses, some of the items that we give away with our crib packages. And then this is an example of a hygiene kit for a teenager. The teenager kits also include deodorant. Birthday Dreams, this is what our Birthday Dreams packages look like. So every bag is hand decorated and personalized by our volunteers. And it's a great way for our volunteers to connect, to the child and pick out things that they would personally like. And that's what's great when you fill out the questionnaire, you're able to, a child might want a bike or a skateboard or a soccer ball. And we have all of those items. We have lots and lots of toys. And the Birthday Dreams program also is just a great way to lift a child's self-esteem and let them know that the community remembers them and that they're celebrated. And we're really proud of what we're able to do through all of our programs, but especially bringing smiles to all of these children's faces. Here's an example, this teal foot locker, and then there's the black one underneath. And again, this is just a way for children and teens to secure their belongings. It could be a pay stub from work. It could be sneakers. It could be a photo. It could really be anything. But we offer these foot lockers, and we provide over 100 every year. And we're hoping to grow that this year. Licensing safety items. Here's just an example of all of the items that we have available. And with licensing safety items, you just have to bring your documentation showing that you are undergoing the process to become a foster family. So our impacts in 2020, through our basic needs program, we served over 4,000 children. We gave out over 1,900 twin beds, close to 700 cribs, over 2,300 backpacks. We fulfilled over 3,200 birthday wishes. We helped over almost 1,400 families with those safety items. And we gave out over 100 foot lockers. And our volunteers, even through the pandemic, we were still able to have our volunteers in the building, and they contributed almost 6,500 hours. And so far this year, through basic needs, we have served over 1,600 children, over 650 beds, almost 300 cribs, almost 600 backpacks, over 1,000 birthdays. We have helped almost 700 families with safety items. We're close to giving out 200 foot lockers, which is awesome because that program keeps growing. And our volunteers so far have contributed over 2,100 hours. And so with all of our programs, like I mentioned, there is a packet that details each program individually. There's another attachment that walks you through how to actually make an appointment. So you'll start by visiting our website, and you'll go at the very top on the right-hand side. There's a button that says lend a hand or need a hand, and you click on that, and then that document that is in the handouts will walk you through how to make appointments for each of those different programs. But through all of them, you just have to have your notice to provider and driver's license. We are here Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And so those are when we are taking appointments. And then there's another handout that is just a brochure. It gives you some more information about our organization. I just wanted to also share how we're supported. So fiscal year ending June 30th, 2020, we received over $2 million in in-kind product. Also, $2.4 million in individual donations. And that is actually, the majority of that is through our state tax credit that you might be familiar with. It's our Qualified Foster Care Charitable Organization. We're one of 46 agencies in the state that is a QFCO. So we're very grateful to our community for their support. We also get, a lot of our funding comes through foundations and corporate gifts in the form of grants. And we also have some special events. 93 cents of every dollar donated by our community goes back to our programs to help children in foster care. Here's just some photos of our volunteers. They do a variety of tasks. They help us, they build bikes, they stock our shelves with clothing, they stock our shelves with safety items, they put birthday packages together. And so we can't do what we do without our volunteers. So we're very grateful for their assistance. Here's just some more information about the tax credit. And just some ways that you guys can all help. You're very active on social media. When we do help our families, if we've made a difference, we always love to receive thank you notes. We're part of Amazon Smile and Fry's Community Rewards. And that is the end of my presentation. But if you have any questions, my contact information after today, if you have questions, my contact information is on here. Again, my name's Christy Perry. And Laura Grodsky, she is our senior service manager. So I put her contact information on the appointment scheduling handout. So if you are trying to schedule an appointment, you can always contact her if you have any questions. Thank you.
Okay, I have a couple questions that I want to field. Christy. So you were talking about the back to school, the basic needs, the birthday dreams, those 3 things.
Yes.
Do you provide it only to foster or kinship placements directly, or could someone come like pick it up on their behalf?
Yes, that's a great question. So someone can pick it up on their behalf. When the appointment is being made, the appointment just needs to be made under the foster parent or the kinship provider, but someone can pick it up on their behalf as long as they have the person's notice to provider and driver's license.
Perfect. And then can somebody do that like a CASA or a child's attorney or a GAL for a child that they work with, or does it have to be the person who's the placement?
No, I believe we have social workers, we have CASAs, so yes, they can also submit requests on behalf of the child.
Great. Couple more questions. The licensing safety part. Is that only if you're going through the process to become an actual licensed placement? Or for instance, we have a lot of kinship placements in Arizona that aren't licensed, but they must pass a home study. Does that part qualify if they prove they're going through the home study process?
Yes. As long as you have your documentation, that qualifies. And when you make your appointment, you can go on and select whatever items you might need. So you could come and you could get the bed or the crib, the clothing, but you can also get those safety items.
Awesome. And then one last question, unless any more pop up for now, is does somebody have to come pick it up like at your warehouse or location, or do you deliver it all for some of those bigger items if they didn't have the means to like transport a bed or a crib?
So everything does have to be picked up here at our warehouse. I know with our beds, we do have some twin beds that are now, the mattress is in a box, so it's not as bulky to transport. On our website, when you do make an appointment, it does give you the dimensions of the beds and the mattresses. That way you can just be able to plan ahead and figure out what kind of transportation you would need. But everything does get picked up at our warehouse here on 32nd Street and Thunderbird.
Awesome. Thank you. I think that's all the questions for now. And then we'll circle back at the end to see if any more come up. But with that, we will hand it over to Kim. And let me just switch the slides real quick. All right.
All right. Well, hello, everybody. What a great presentation from Christy. We've been working with Arizona Helping Hands when there's things that we can't provide, such as beds. And it's really great to see all of their programs in full explanation. So Arizona Friends of Foster Children Foundation, we have a little saying called "You win, we win." And it applies to a lot of different aspects of what we do. For foster families, they win when they get their child enrolled in an extracurricular activity that might not have been possible without the help. We win by making that available to the families that we serve. So on the next slide is our mission statement, which is the Arizona Friends of Foster Children Foundation creates opportunities to build self-esteem and empower children and youth in foster care by funding services to enrich their life experiences and ensure their successful transition to adulthood. And so for more than 37 years, AFFCF has been saying yes if the request falls within our guidelines. And that's a really important thing to note because we get a lot of different requests and it's great to be able to accommodate the bulk of those. We started back in 1983, but we granted our first award in 1984, in which we paid $29 and some change for an 8-year-old boy in Prescott to take flute lessons. And since then, we've paid more than $13 million in awards and serving nearly 70,000 children in foster care all over Arizona. So we do serve children across the state. It's not just localized to here in the Phoenix metro area. They can be in St. John, they can be in Tucson or Yuma, or in Chandler, and we will gladly serve them. to give you an idea of some of the different things that we can fund and what we did last year, as everyone knows, 2020 was an anomaly. And so our numbers aren't as great as they normally would be. But as you can see, camp is still one of our big things that we fund. So we'll fund summer camp or any kind of camp up to $375 per child one time per year. Last year, obviously, camp took a hit. So our next biggest award there would be our bicycle, scooter, skate. So a child can choose if they want to get a bicycle, scooter, skateboard, and AFFCF will pay for that. And we have different amounts of what we'll pay based on the child's age. And we'll also pay for the safety equipment. So pads, bicycle, helmets, locks, all of that good stuff. So yeah, you can take a look and see some of the things that we've done in the past. Theme park admissions, again, are usually one of our biggest things, especially now in the summer. So as things start to open back up, we're seeing a lot more requests for camps back to some of our normal levels. We're seeing more requests for theme park admissions, especially as I think Disney just opened up to guests outside of California. So I would imagine we'll get a lot of those requests. And you'll see there's a couple of other things that I'll explain a little bit more in detail. But if you're looking to support a child in foster care, attached in the documents, the handouts, is our guidelines brochure. It's up to date, but if you also want to check our website has the absolute most up-to-date information about our guidelines, because we do change those to fit the needs as they arise. So case in point, one of the things we recently added over the last couple of years is ethnic hair care. We were seeing a need for requests for children who had some very specific hair care needs, that their hair had not been kept up for years, and it was an issue. And so we added that to our list of things that we can help fund. And it's been a pretty successful thing so far. So how it works, anybody can make a request on behalf of a child in foster care. So that's legal guardians, it's caregivers, youth in foster care themselves, at CASA. We've even had the actual biological parents who are trying to get their children back into their custody make requests. So as long as the child's in foster care, that's our only eligibility. They have to be in foster care in the state of Arizona or a tribal court in Arizona. And we do verify that. As some of you may know who've submitted applications on our behalf, we do ask for the child's DCS or tribal caseworker's contact information, and we will confirm their status in care, usually via email. And so what happens when an applicant submits a request and they click the submit button, they will get an email that lets them know we've received their request, and then it will give them an application number, and then email is automatically sent to that caseworker to asking them to confirm the child's status. So as I mentioned earlier, if the request falls within our guidelines, it's automatically approved. And then what happens is, in most cases, we'll make a check payable to the vendor, and then we mail it to the caregiver or the applicant on the application. There are times where we do things on a reimbursement basis, and the process is still the same in that the caregiver or the applicant needs to submit an application. And then instead of us mailing a check payable to the vendor to them, we will send them an email. We call it a congratulations email because it literally says congratulations, and we want it to be distinguished from those confirmation emails. The congratulations email will explain what's been approved for how much for which child, and it will also include instructions on how to get reimbursed, and what the steps are that they need to do that. So we have to do it that way for several different things that we fund, such as theme park admission and like bicycle, scooters, skateboards, things where you would have to go into like a Walmart or Target or wherever, because they don't accept third-party checks anymore, unfortunately. So one great thing is last year, COVID, as you know, made everything stop and stand still. And we wanted to do something to help kids in foster care at least be able to enjoy their summer, even if it's from the comfort of their homes. And so we created the Save Their Summer initiative, and I'm happy to say that we're doing it again this year. So through July 31st, caregivers can request, it's a one-time only award of up to $100. And it's for each child in your home so that you can purchase items that will save their summer. So we're looking at things like slip and slides, board games, outside activities, water tables. We've done science experiments, arts and crafts. You name it, we'll consider funding it. So, and again, this is done on a reimbursement basis. So we've had some caregivers who have multiple children in their home, and they've been able to combine those requests to get one big item, such as a trampoline or one of those, I think really popular is one of those inflatable like water slide things that they can have in the backyard. So those things are possible to do that. And it's been really great. So, and again, that's through July 31st. Any requests that are made after that will not be considered. So it's just something we know things aren't fully back to normal yet. And so, and some families may not be wanting to put their kids into a camp with, you know, a whole bunch of other people from other places. So we understand that. And so we wanted to make that available again this year. So some other ways that we help children in foster care win is our Keys to Success program. And so this program, we work with youth ages 16 and 21. And basically we started this program back in 2014 as the idea is to help these youth get jobs. And so that as they start to get closer to that age of 18 and aging out, we wanted them to be able to have some skills that would help them serve them well past foster care. We realized fairly soon that there was a lot more work that needed to be done. And so Keys to Success has really evolved to provide career development services for youth aging out of foster care that can lead them to discover their potential and a pathway to living wage employment. Youth are assigned a career development specialist who will work with them to kind of explore what are they interested in? What do they like to do? What are they good at? Kind of just get an idea of, you know, what do they dream to want to be as a career? And then what we do is we work with them on making a plan to make that happen. Look at, so if someone wants to be, for example, an attorney, we kind of help them figure out what's the education requirements, what are all of the other requirements, and how do they need to get there from where they are at that point in time. We started out working in Maricopa County only, but we just recently, I think last year, expanded to Western Yavapai. So in the Prescott area, we have a staff member there that works with youth. So we help them get jobs. Fry's Food Stores is our largest employer partner. And so we help them get jobs for in the meantime. Some of them are career moves, such as, you know, Fry's. They can actually, we've had some folks actually go on to be managers in some of the stores in different departments, which is really cool to see. Fry's, you know, they don't guarantee employment. What they do is allow the youth to get a foot in the door, offering them the opportunity to have an interview. And then it's up to the youth to succeed in that. And so we do a lot of interview coaching, practice rounds. We'll pay for clothing for the youth to go to an interview. So, you know, you can't just go in ripped jeans and a t-shirt. And so we help them do the things they need to do to look nice and sharp for that interview. It's a really great program, and there is a handout. It's the AFF-CF brag sheet, and that will show you some of the numbers of some of the successes that we've had in the past year in 2020. Even despite COVID, we were able to work with these youth. They lost their jobs. They lost, they had under the threat of being evicted, losing their residence. And so we were able to work with them and help them the best we can to stay afloat during a really difficult time. And then another way that we help youth in foster care is we have our post-secondary scholarship program. And so we fund the tuition and fees for young people who age out of foster care in Arizona and wish to attend a university or community college. So for university level scholarships, they're up to $2,500 per semester, and community college scholarships are $1,000 per semester. So we're actually, June just started yesterday. So until June 30th, we are accepting applications for the fall 2021 semester for first-time applicants. And there's a link there at afscf.org/scholarships that will provide all the different criteria that need to be met. And then also there's a link to our scholarship application. It's a great program. We've had a lot of success. We've had some youth who've used it through their entire college career. In fact, we have quite a few who are graduating this year, and we're happy to see them succeed and move on into life, into their chosen fields. We also have an incredible program that we started a couple of years ago. It's called the Pinson Award Fund. And it was started by a couple who wanted to do something for children in foster care, but they wanted to work with older youth who age out. And so the Pinson Fund is designed to help young men and women who've aged out of foster care overcome those emergency expenses that could derail their education. So they have to be in some sort of post-secondary program to be eligible. But basically what it is, most of us can remember back to a time when we were in college or maybe just starting out as young adults, and our car breaks down and we need a little extra money to help make that repair. So rather than us having to drop out of school, we can ask a trusted family member, a parent, an aunt, an uncle, someone that we would trust that would be able to help us out. For kids who've aged out of foster care, they don't necessarily have that luxury, and they have to make a difficult decision of, do I continue going to school and don't have a car to get me around, or do I drop out so I can work full time and get my car paid off or get my car repair paid? And so that's what the Pinson Fund does, is it pays for these emergency expenses. So say if someone is in college and they got sick for a couple of weeks and they weren't able to work, so they missed out on 2 weeks of a paycheck. And so the Pinson Fund would step in and help them with that rent assistance or help provide groceries. And so again, they have to be 18 to 21 years of age in Arizona, have aged out of Arizona's foster care. They have to be enrolled at a university or community college or a vocational program. And the Pinson Fund, and the reason why I didn't mention vocational programs in our post-secondary scholarship program, because the Pinson Fund pays for vocational programs for youth who've aged out of foster care. So if they want to go to auto mechanic school or like medical assisting, any of those types of things, those are things that can be funded through the Pinson Award. And last but not least, how do we make it all happen? So like Arizona Helping Hands, AFSCF is a 501c3 nonprofit organization, and we receive absolutely no government funding. So we rely solely on contributions from individuals, businesses, and foundations who wish to make life better for children in foster care. We are a qualifying foster care organization, so that means donations to AFSCF are eligible for the foster care tax credit, which allows for the maximum amount to be donated up to $500 for individuals and up to $1,000 for joint filers to get that tax credit back. I've listed our tax ID number and our QFCO ID number, as well as a link to our donation page. Also in our handouts, I just wanted to mention we have our AFSCF guidelines. That's our brochure that shows you everything that we fund, and it provides like dollar amounts and how often you can ask for funding. Some things we do one time per year. Sometimes there's things that we can do on a monthly basis, and there's also things that we can do up to 3 months at a time, such as classes or lessons. So that would include like gymnastics classes, swimming lessons, and things like that. I also have attached a little brochure handout for our Save Their Summer program that gives you more information on how that works and what we can consider funding for. And then last but not least, our handout has our post-secondary guideline. It's actually really a resource guide. So if you're working with a youth who is in high school or maybe has already moved on to a post-secondary program, it's chock full of all sorts of great information about funding, what needs to happen, and all these other resources that are available, not just within AFSCF, but are available to help you go on and get that post-secondary education so they can be successful in their lives. And so with that, that is all I have. I know that I've thrown a lot of information out, so I'm happy to answer whatever questions that have popped up. And thank you for letting me talk to you guys about this.
Thank you, Kim. So there are a couple questions. One is, are there any resources available to help offset increased tuition? And the summary of this question sounds like it's a placement or a kinship that is paying for a child in their care's preschool, but they're getting a certain amount from DCS, and then they are paying in excess of that, and tuition's increasing. The caseworker told them, just go find a cheaper preschool. But the concern is moving a kid just around because of that, especially children that suffer trauma, is not in their best interest. So are there resources available to help offset that increased tuition in situations like that?
Right. So I will say that AFSCS does not pay for childcare in that capacity, but there are resources if the caregiver is in a kinship placement. If it's a kinship, there are a couple of organizations. We do have a resource guide on our website that has a lot of information about other organizations that do help children in foster care and their families. If you go to affcs.org/resources, you'll find a link to that resource guide and also the link to our post-secondary guide as well. I would definitely check there. There are some organizations like Duet that specifically works with grandparents raising grandchildren. That's a great resource. But there's also some other like kinship caregiver coalitions out there. If they can't help, they would probably be able to connect caregivers to the right resources to help with that.
Great. Is there, when you were mentioning the funding of things like the gymnastics class or dance class or swimming lessons, does the child have to be enrolled already in that to submit it? Or is it something that can be submitted to say, this is what we want to do if we get this funding approved?
Right. No, they do not have to be enrolled already. So typically what happens in these types of applications is the caregiver will make a request. They just need to provide some documentation that shows what the cost of that activity is. So let's take gymnastics, for example. It could be a screenshot from the provider's website that shows what that monthly cost is. It can be an email, it can be a flyer, just something that's official, that's not handwritten, that we can verify that cost. So they don't have to be automatically enrolled. We do have some situations where caregiver has been paying for this and just found out that we can help pay for that. So again, all they have to do is provide the documentation that shows what that cost is. And then we do make the check payable directly to the vendor, and then we will mail it to the applicant. Or they can choose to come, if they're here locally, they can choose to come and pick it up from our office as well.
Great. And a couple of questions on that same note. So if it is the situation, as you just mentioned, someone's already been paying for it and just found out about this, not reimbursement, but this funding, it is not retroactive. Is that correct? It would only be
correct. That's correct. That AFSCS, let me try that again. AFSCS cannot pay for things that have already been purchased. And so that's particularly important to note on those items that we do on a reimbursement basis. You have to wait for that congratulations email to come through before you make any purchases. And that's just an accounting procedure that keeps us straight with our auditors at the end of every year. As far as if the caregiver has been paying for the gymnastics classes for the past 6 months, we would not be able to retroactively pay for that. But moving forward, we can certainly consider those costs as long as they fall within our guidelines.
Awesome. And then still on the topic of those lessons, a lot of those types of lessons are paid monthly to the business or tutor or whatever it may be. Is it something that would then by the caregiver have to be submitted every month to have that? Or is it something that you would calculate, hey, this is what it costs monthly for dance, and we'll send a check for 6 months out? How does that work?
Right. So yes and no. So they can choose to request monthly. So for like classes and lessons and that thing, our maximum amount that we'll pay for is $125 per month per child. So they can choose to do that on a monthly basis, or if they know the child's going to be into this and you know that's something they're passionate about, they can request up to 3 months at a time. So at a maximum of $375 per child. So as long as that request falls within that guideline, they can do that. And then it will be on the applicant or the caregiver to reapply as the end of that lesson, as the end of that funding period comes to draws nearer. So like, say they do it on a 3-month basis, maybe before that 3rd month is completed, they want to submit another application for another 3 months. And so as long as we have what that monthly cost is, and they're able to, they can, $75 times 3, and as long as we can see what that monthly cost is, they should be good.
Awesome. And in terms of, actually, sorry, one more on that same note before I switch to the other program. So I just lost my train of thought. I apologize. Oh, yes, sorry. When they do, you said there's a cap, $125 a month for each child. And so is there ever like an end cap on that? Like, let's say that child's placed with somebody for a year or 2 years and they really love dance or gymnastics. Can that continue to be provided, or is there ever like a total that gets capped? Right. We do not have like an end cap. There's no set amount that we'll fund for one particular child in foster care. Like, we don't cap it off at like $5,000 and you're done. So as long as the child's in foster care, and we can verify that, then the child's eligible for the items. There is one exception to that rule though. Well, there's a couple of exceptions to the rule. So for scooters, bicycles, bikes, I just said bicycles twice. For those particular items, we fund those every 2 years, and we'll do a maximum of 2 times because we know that kids grow. So a bicycle that they get when they're 5 years old might not be appropriate for when they're 13 years old. So we understand that. So we'll do that 2 times, period. The other items that are like one time only that we'll fund are things that we provide for unlicensed caregivers. So that's like car seats, strollers, high chairs, and things of that nature for like I said, the unlicensed who get a small child just unexpectedly overnight. And so we make that available for them. Okay. And then one last question regarding the Penson Award, the post-secondary scholarship, the Keys to Success. The child has to have aged out or be close to that time frame, it sounds like. If there's a kid that aged out, turned 18, of course, and now is 19 or 20, can they still be referred to or apply to or enroll in those programs as long as they were in care at the time of their 18th birthday? Yeah, as long as they were in care at the time of their 18th birthday, they are eligible. Like I said, the Keys to Success program, the time period that youth can enroll in that is from ages 16 to 21. So up until that time period, most of the kids that are in the Keys to Success program have signed a voluntary. I don't think that's necessarily a requirement. I would want to double check with our program director on that. But, and for the Penson Fund, they just had to have aged out of foster care at age 18 here in Arizona. And we do have a contact that helps us verify that they were indeed in foster care at the time they turned 18. So they do not have to be on a voluntary. They do not have to, their only requirements, they have to be in some sort of post-secondary education setup. So whether it's college, vocational, or community college. Awesome. Well, that ends the questions, and I haven't seen any new ones come in. So in terms of the Q&A, we're done with that part. And I just have a few notes to end on, and then we'll be done. So thank you to all of you who tuned in today. All 3 of our organizations have a similar population of people that we serve. We all want to help children in foster care. Obviously, as you heard, we do that in different ways, and which is great because now you know who you can go to for which sort of impact you're looking for. Or maybe you need one or all 3 organizations. You also heard we all have the state tax credit eligibility. And we're funded a lot by donations. So there's no donation. I'm sure I can speak for Kim and Christy as to this as well. No donation is too big and no donation is too small. So if it's $5 or $5,000, it'll still be put toward the overall same things and same help that each of our organizations is working toward to help those kids in foster care. And then for Generation Justice specifically, if you haven't subscribed to our emails, yet, which you probably have, which is probably how you got this information. But if you haven't, head to our website, genjustice.org, and you can subscribe to those so you can keep up to date on things that we're doing, like these webinars, among other things. And if you have any questions that you think of after the fact, you can reach out to Kim or Christy. They provided their information if it's for their organization specifically. Or you can reach out to hello@genjustice.org, and I'll make sure I get you the answer or connect you with them, or to me directly, Brittany@genjustice.org. And it's amazing that you guys tuned in, that all of us were able to come together, and that so many people are interested in the child welfare system and making these beneficial changes and impacts to the kids that are in care. So that's all for today. And stay tuned for our future ones on different topics. And thank you, Kim and Christy, so much for highlighting your organizations today.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.